You're banned from Thanksgiving, idiot. That was the message glowing on my phone, followed by the sound of my daughter laughing with someone in the background. For a second, I thought the screen had glitched. The words sat there, sharp and flat, as if they had been waiting in the dark for the right moment to cut. My name is Marinelle Carter. I am 66. I stood in the small kitchen of my Portland apartment, one hand still resting on the edge of the counter. The quiet felt heavier than usual, not because of the room itself, but because of the way that message settled into it. Through the thin wall, I could hear neighbors preparing for the holiday soft music. A child asking about whipped cream. Someone dragging a chair across the floor. All of it warm and ordinary. All of it a world I was not part of. My phone buzzed again. A voice memo this time. Laughter, my daughters. Bright and careless. Someone else chimed in. Maybe one of her friends. Maybe her husband. A man's voice said, "Send it. She'll get over it." Then another round of laughter. Muffled. Distant. Cruel in its ease. I did not play it twice. I just stared at the message until my eyes blurred. Then I whispered one quiet word into the stillness. Fine. Though my chest ached with disbelief. It surprised me how steady it sounded. No trembling. No pleading. No, just a small release. The kind a person makes after holding her breath for too many years. This was not the first time my daughter had spoken to me like that. It was only the first time she had written it down. Something about seeing it printed in clean white letters on my screen made it feel final, like a line drawn without hesitation. I set the phone down on the table. My hands did not shake. They should have. The woman I used to be would have scrambled to fix whatever I had done wrong, to apologize before I even understood the accusation. But I was not that woman tonight. I breathed in, slow and deep, and let the silence settle again. Tomorrow, I would have to face the years behind this message, every favor, every bill, every moment that had carried us to this place. But for now, I just stood there, letting the truth finally reach me. I sat down at the small table, my phone still face down beside me. The quiet pressed in. The kind that makes old memories rise whether you want them to or not. It started slowly, back when Tessa was still in high school. Mom, can you put the phone bill on your card? Just for a month. She had been 16, cheeks flushed from practice. Backpack hanging open. I remember saying, only until you get your babysitting money. That month turned into years. After my divorce, everything blurred. I felt guilty that she grew up in a house where arguments lasted longer than truces. So when she asked for help, I never questioned it. Mom, the car needs new tires. Mom, they raised rent again. Mom, insurance says I owe $200. Each time, I told myself it was temporary. Each time, she said, thank you. You always save me. And each time, the gratitude faded a little faster. By the time she married Spencer, it wasn't even a request anymore. It was an assumption built into the rhythm of her life. Mom, the electric bill came in your email again. Can you handle it? There was no please, no pause. Just a confidence that I would cover every bill and overdraft, even without asking for help. When I tried to pull back once, barely, Tessa snapped. Don't make this about money. You know how much we're juggling. And Spencer added, it's not a big deal. Marinelle, you're better with finances anyway. Better with finances. That phrase became a trap. Every bill, every service, all funneled into my accounts. It sounded like admiration, but it was permission. Permission for them to lean. And for me to break. Somewhere along the way, helping became the only way I knew to stay close to my own daughter, and every time she asked, a small part of me believed that saying no would push her further away. Tonight, sitting alone after that message, I finally let myself feel the truth of it. The closeness I kept paying for had stopped being love a long time ago, and I had been too afraid to name the cost. By the time Tessa married Spencer, my name had already become part of their household without anyone saying it out loud. It started with small things, the kind that slip under the door before you notice the draft. One night, Tessa called while I was washing dishes. "Mom, Comcast charged late fees again. Can you switch the autopay back on? We're stretched thin this month," I said. "I turned it off because I thought you two were handling it now." Spencer's voice came faintly through the line. "We are handling it. It's just easier if it stays under her account. Their bills were still under my name every account. Every payment without any official notification." I dried my hands and agreed, even though something in me sank. Utilities followed. Portland winters don't forgive anyone, especially renters. "Mom, the gas bill doubled. Can you cover it?" Just this once. This once became every winter. Then most summers, too. Even the Thanksgiving groceries were ordered using my saved card, automatically, without any conversation. One November afternoon, my phone pinged with a receipt from a grocery delivery service. I called Tessa immediately. "Why is $200 for a turkey and sides charged to my card?" "Oh," she said, cheerful and distracted. "The app saved your info from last year. I thought you wouldn't mind." "You always handle the holiday stuff," Spencer added. "It's tradition." Right, I didn't answer. The silence stretched long enough for both of them to feel it. But neither apologized. Tessa just said, "Thanks." "Mom, you're a lifesaver," and hung up before I could respond. Their house ran on my credit, my accounts, my passwords. And the more they leaned on me, the less they seemed to notice I was even there. Everything kept functioning because I kept paying for it. And I'd let it happen for so many years that even I had forgotten where the line used to be. The voice memo sat under the text like a bruise. I tapped it once, and the sound filled the room before I could brace myself, laughter bright, careless, young. Tessa's voice cut through it. "I sent it. She'll get over it." Someone else, maybe one of her friends, snorted. "She always does." Then Spencer's voice, low and dismissive. "She'll turn it into a money thing. She always makes everything about money." The laughter got louder. I could hear glasses clinking, a door closing, someone saying, "She can eat alone like always." The words hit harder than the text. They weren't said in anger. They were said casually, like the punchline of a joke shared among people who thought they knew me. I glanced at the message one more time, forcing myself to believe it was real. The cruelty wasn't sharp. It was smooth, practiced, familiar. That made it worse. My phone buzzed again, a photo from Tessa. She stood in her decorated living room, smiling with her friends, holding a glass of wine. Underneath, she'd typed, "We're keeping it small this year. Enjoy your night." No apology, no explanation. I set the phone down slowly. The world didn't shift or crack. It just settled into a truth I'd been trying not to see. After the laughter in that voice memo faded from my phone, something inside me settled not with anger, but with a kind of tired certainty. If they didn't want me at their table, they didn't need my money there either. I pulled my laptop toward me. The screen lit up. And for a moment, I just stared at it, hands still. A part of me whispered, "Tessa will panic. Spencer will blame you." Another part whispered louder, "You've carried them long enough." I opened the first account, PGE. My cursor hovered over the Remove Autopay button. I heard Tessa's voice in my head. "Mom, can you just handle it? You're better with finances." I clicked. The confirmation box popped up. "Yes," I whispered. "I'm sure." NW, natural gas was next. "Mom, the heat's off again." I hesitated, knowing the house could freeze, then removed autopay carefully. Comcast loaded slowly, the way it always did. I remembered Spencer saying, "It's easier if it stays under her account." Click. Log out. One by one, I untangled myself from every thread they'd wound around my life. The grocery delivery app still had my card saved. I deleted it. The backup card too. Spotify, streaming services. The shared cloud storage gone. With each removal, a wave of guilt rose, tempered by the knowledge that they had to learn responsibility. What if Tessa calls? What if she cries? What if she finally realizes how much I've been holding up? My hand tightened around the edge of the table. I said the words out loud, steady and clear. If they don't want me there, they don't need my money there. For the first time in years, I felt the weight shift off my shoulders, not all the way, but enough that I could sit upright without bracing myself. I closed the laptop gently. The room stayed quiet, but it was a different kind of quiet, one I hadn't heard in a long time. Not loneliness, not fear, something closer to starting over. I didn't hear from Tessa the next morning, not in the afternoon either. The silence didn't surprise me. She never checked the bills unless something went wrong. It started around 4 in the evening. My phone buzzed with a notification: PGE alert, payment failed. A second one followed: NW natural gas service interruption pending. The third rolled in minutes later. Comcast payment declined. I set the phone aside and waited. It didn't take long. At 5:30, Tessa called. I didn't pick up. She tried again, then again. By the fourth call, she switched to a voicemail. Mom, the oven just shut off in the middle of cooking. Spencer says the breaker's fine. Can you call me? I placed the phone face down. 10 minutes later, a text. Why is the grocery app saying your card was removed? The pies and beverages didn't go through. Another text. Spencer's mad. He said you always handle this stuff. Then a photo came in, unintentionally cruel. Guests were already seated in her decorated dining room, all of them glancing toward the kitchen. The turkey sat pale and unfinished on the counter behind her. Spencer stood off to the side, arms crossed tight. A new voicemail buzzed. I listened. Mom, Tessa whispered harshly. People are asking what's going on. The lights flickered twice. And the Wi-Fi's down. Spencer's saying this is your fault because the bills are in your name. In the background, I heard him snap. Tell her to fix it. She put everything under her account. She can get it turned back on. Tessa's voice rose, strained. Mom, please call me. This is embarrassing. Another alert came in before she finished speaking. Electric service threatened for disconnection unless payment was restored immediately. The messages piled up faster after that. A friend's voice in the background. Tess, do you want us to go? Spencer's sharp reply. No, she just needs to get her mother to cooperate. Guests whispered, noticing the dim lights and cold drafts. A fragile household routine had cracked, and somewhere in all the noise, Tessa said the line that reached me most clearly. Why would she do this now? I had just turned off the living room lamp when the pounding started. 3 quick hits, then one long one, the kind made by someone trying not to fall apart while doing it. Mom, a voice cracked on the other side. Mom, please open the door. I pulled it open, and Tessa nearly stumbled inside. Her coat hung crooked off one shoulder. Mascara streaked down her cheeks like she'd wiped them with the back of her hand too many times. They left, she choked out. Everyone left. Spencer's furious. Her phone buzzed. Screen lighting up her shaking fingers. Spencer's name flashed over a line of messages. You need to handle the bills. Mom's name is on them, and the oven and heat are out. Do something now. Do something for once. Tessa pressed the phone to her chest as if the words might stop cutting if she held them tight enough. Mom, the house is freezing, she whispered. The heat cut out. The lights keep flickering. Spencer said we could lose the place if the mortgage bounces again. I don't understand what's happening. I didn't move closer. I didn't touch her hair the way I used to when she was small and sobbing from nightmares. I just watched her sink onto the edge of my couch, fingers trembling. Why didn't you tell me things were getting shut off? She asked, voice rising. Why didn't you warn me? You didn't want to hear from me, I said quietly. Not yesterday, not the weeks before. That was different. She snapped, then caught herself and swallowed hard. I didn't mean, Mom, please. I don't know what to do. Spencer already blamed me for everything. He said if I can't even handle my own mom, what good am I? She folded in on herself, knees pulled close, breath hitching uncontrollably. I sat across from her, hands clasped, letting the silence stretch. She wasn't only crying about Thanksgiving. She was crying because the life she leaned on without thinking had finally slipped out of her hands. Can I stay here tonight? She whispered. Just tonight. I don't want to go back there like this. I nodded once. Not yes, not no. Just a small gesture that kept her from breaking further. Tessa sat curled on the couch, her hands clenched in the sleeves of her coat. She kept wiping her face, but the tears didn't stop. I watched her for a long moment before standing and walking to the hallway closet. What are you doing? She whispered. I'm getting something I should have brought out years ago. I pulled out the black binder, thick, worn, edges bent from being opened too many times in private moments. When I set it on the coffee table, Tessa stared at it like it might explode. What? What is that? Everything, I said. Everything you never wanted to see. I opened it slowly. The first page held printed statements from PGE. These are the gas bills, I said. Every winter spike. Every late notice I paid off. Tessa swallowed hard. Mom, I didn't know it was this much. You didn't ask. I flipped to the next section. Dentist invoices. Co-pays. Prescription receipts, her wisdom tooth removal. Spencer's emergency filling. You told me you'd pay me back, I said. You never mentioned it again. She pressed her palm to her mouth. Then the transfers rent shortfalls from when they moved to Selwood, grocery charges for every Thanksgiving, internet bills stacked like a second mortgage, page after page, year after year, hundreds of charges, late fees, and transfers, Tessa whispered. I thought it wasn't a big deal. No, I said gently. You thought I would always take it. You thought I'd never say no because I'm your mother. I didn't mean to use you, she said, voice cracking. I thought you didn't mind. I minded. I said, but every time I tried to talk about money, you accused me of ruining things. You made jokes. You made me feel small for even bringing it up. She covered her face again. I'm so sorry. Mom, I didn't know it added up to this. It's not the total that hurt me, I said quietly. It's the way you talked to me, the way you dismissed me, the way you acted like I was a burden instead of the person keeping your life running. She looked up, eyes red and terrified. I didn't see it. I didn't see any of it. For a long time, I said, closing the binder gently. I didn't see it either. Tessa reached forward, fingers trembling, as if touching the binder might steady her. Mom, what do I do now? She breathed. Tessa kept her hand on the binder as if it could anchor her. Mom, I can fix this. I'll pay you back somehow. I'll take over some of the bills. Just tell me what you want me to do. Her voice was frantic, the kind that comes from fear, not understanding. I already told you, I said softly. I want you to live your own life. It's not on my accounts, not on my guilt. Tessa shook her head hard. But we can't handle everything alone. Spencer will lose it if he finds out the utilities are switching. He already thinks I'm the reason the oven shut off. I sat across from her, folding my hands. I'm not asking you to do it all tonight, but the transfers start tomorrow. Mom, no, she said quickly. You don't understand. Spencer said if the mortgage bounces one more time, then you both need to take responsibility for it. I said, "It's your home, not mine." Tessa flinched at the firmness in my voice. She wasn't used to hearing it. "Not from me. You're leaving me," she whispered. "I'm not." I said, "I'm letting you grow up. There's a difference." Her face crumpled. "I don't know how to do this. I never learned." "I know," I said, "and that's partly my fault. I tried to protect you from everything, even things you should have faced years ago." She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "So what happens now? Starting tomorrow, we'll transfer each account gradually. You'll take over autopay yourself." "And the grocery apps?" she asked, voice small. "You'll add your own card," I said. She let out a shuddering breath. "Spencer's going to be furious." I didn't respond right away. Then I said, "He doesn't get to dictate your dependence. That's between you and me." Tessa sank back against the cushions, her shoulders collapsing in a way that made her look younger than 28. "Younger even than 16, Mom." "I'm scared." "I know you are," I said, "but I'm here. I'm just not carrying everything anymore." She nodded slowly, trying to steady her breathing. "Can I stay here again tomorrow night?" Just until things calmed down, I didn't give her certainty, but I gave her honesty. "We'll talk tomorrow." For the first time in years, there was space between us, uncomfortable, unfamiliar, but real. A year later, Tessa called me the day before Thanksgiving. Her voice was steady this time, not frantic. "Mom," she said, "the transfer for the mortgage went through early. I set up everything on my own this month." I could hear the pride tucked under her words. "That's good." I said, "You've worked hard for it." And I wanted to say thank you, not for the money, but for last year, for making me face things I should have learned sooner. It wasn't an apology, but it was something earned, not demanded. Thanksgiving morning, I stayed in my kitchen, making a small plate for myself. No rush, no noise. Just a quiet day I chose. Around noon, Tessa texted again. "Dinner is at 3. No pressure. Just, we'd love to have you." "I'll come," I said slowly. No rush, no pressure. By late afternoon, I walked over not because they needed me, and not because I feared being alone, but because I wanted to see how far we'd come. Tessa opened the door, smiling without forcing it. "I made everything myself," as she said softly. "All paid for myself, too. I'm proud of you," I told her. Later that night, back home, I sat with a cup of tea and breathed in the quiet that finally felt like mine. If anyone reads this, remember, standing up for yourself is never too late.